Hello, everyone. I'm Ralph Ventre here in Somerset, New Jersey at NEC headquarters. It's time for our Week 10 NEC Football Geico Google Hangout. There'll be an NEC Football doubleheader on ESPN3 this Saturday, and we'll speak to one participant from each half of that double dip in today's Google Hangout. First, let me remind you that the NEC Football Google Hangout is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com. Now, moving into our Week 10 Hangout, we have standing by in Smithfield, Rhode Island, Ricardo McCray. Rico and the Bulldogs will host Central Connecticut in the first half of Saturday's doubleheader. That'll kick off at 12 noon. And also in our hangout today on Staten Island right now, it's Jarrett Dieudonne, the cornerback, and his Wagner Seahawks will host defending champion Sacred Heart, and that game will kick off at 3:30 on ESPN3. So I'll start it off. We'll go with Ricardo out at Bryant. Rico, as they call you. Bryant is 2-0 in NEC play. You guys are kicking off our doubleheader on ESPN3 this Saturday. I mean, it must feel pretty good to be a Bulldog right now.
It does. This is exactly where we want to be at this point in the season. We're not content with where we are. We have the ultimate goal of obviously trying to win the conference, so we have to keep working hard this season in order to do so.
Now I'll throw it over to Jarrett. Jarrett, Wagner, 2-0 in NEC play, 3-game winning streak. Sacred Heart's coming to town. What's your mindset heading into Saturday?
Our mindset is just stay focused and stay to the goal at hand. We feel like we wanted to be at this position, and we put ourselves here to be in this position, but now we just have to continue to focus and play this all the way out to the end.
Now, before I go back to Rico, I want to keep it with you, Jarrett, because you are in this position where you're 2-0 in conference play, but the season didn't start out like that. Wagner got out to a 1-3 start. You lost a few non-league games on the road, but now it seems that things are clicking. You're off to a perfect start in conference play. What has led to this recent success, this turnaround of sorts?
Once we got to 1-3, we came together as a team. We had a players-only meeting, and we told ourselves this is not what we want to do with our season. We do not want to continue on a losing streak. So we decided that we had to make some changes and make some turnarounds, and we just put more focus into practice, and we started counting on each other and making each other just work hard in every aspect of our game, including the film room and on the field. So once we did that, and we started to put our mind to it and actually know that we have something special here, that changed around for us.
So do you actually notice guys going harder in practice, more focused in practice, and that's carrying over to game day?
Yes, I definitely see that. And the way I see that they're going harder in practice is more people are actually getting at the ground. So that means more people are fighting for the ball, more people are being more aggressive when they're running with it. So, yeah, we're practicing more aggressive, and I can see it, but we're also practicing smart where we're keeping each other injury-free and up.
Now, Ricardo, Bryant obviously starts out 6-1. You guys had a few big non-league wins early, so things have been clicking there really from the start of the season. What's been the key to this team's success thus far? Like I said, 6 wins in 7 games.
I definitely think last year's season left a bad taste in our mouth. And so going into the winter and into the spring of last year, we all came together, again, as players, and we talked about what we wanted our success to look like this season. I definitely think the senior leadership on the team has helped fuel everybody. We're holding each other accountable. We're getting things done. We're always working hard. And so that's been the biggest key for us so far this season.
And when you say senior leadership, are you referring to anybody in particular? Who do you guys really look at as team leaders up there in Smithfield?
Well, right now we have 3 captains, 2 of which are fifth-year seniors. We have Matica and Kenzie and Sam Salmons, both fifth years on the defense, and then also Jeff Kovitz. The 3 of them provide great leadership for the team. And it's not just in our captains, it's also in the seniors within each position group. You know, like I said, they kind of hold each position group accountable for what needs to be done. And then as a seniors as a whole, we hold the team. We know where we want to be. This is our team this year. And so we're going to do everything within our power to make sure the team is focused and heading down the right path to have a successful season.
Now, I don't want to get too much off topic right now, but you mentioned Sam Salmons, so I got to ask the question. We all saw that fake punt a few weeks back, 55 yards, the guy rumbles into the end zone. Now, you as a running back, as a guy who carries the ball frequently, critique Sam on that run. How was he? How was he? Elusiveness? How was the speed? How was he in the open field?
You know, he wasn't that bad for the first time running the ball. I got to give him his props. I was busting his chops afterwards. 55 yards is a long way to run on a fake punt, and he was able to get into the end zone, so I know everyone on the team was happy for him for that. We definitely got to work on some ball security for next time, make sure that ball is not flopping around when he's running with it, but no, he did a very good job in running that fake successfully and getting into the end zone, you know.
And now I'll bring it over to Jarrett. You know, Ricardo mentioned that last season for Bryant was somewhat of a disappointment, and it helped them focus and help motivate them going into this year. Now, I want to ask you a similar question here, Jarrett, because I know 2012 was a great year on Grimes Hill, but 2013 was a little bit of a disappointment for you guys on Grimes Hill. And the fact is, both Bryant and Wagner were both picked pretty low in the preseason poll this year. Wagner was 5th, Bryant was 6th. Obviously, you guys are playing like top-tier teams rather than those picks. But I got to ask you, did you guys think about last season at all, and the disappointment that was, and has that helped motivate you?
Yes, it definitely helped motivate us. We thought about it mostly when it was off-season training. When we were off-season training in the winter and in the summer, we definitely reminded ourselves of where we were last year, and that motivated us to work hard. Then once camp and the new season came around, we kind of put that on the back burners, and we kind of focused more on this season and kind of let last season go. But it definitely did motivate us to work harder and just not want to be in that situation anymore, and not that feeling, because it doesn't feel good when you're having a losing season like that coming off the 2012 year. So I just think we had to learn that 2012 year was that year, and we had to come back and prepare ourselves the next year just like we did in 2012.
What about for you personally, though, Jarrett? You have been a guy who was on that team in 2012. You were a contributor. You were an all-NEC performer in 2012, and you tasted the championship. You got a feel of what the FCS playoffs felt like. You got a feel of what it feels like to win an FCS playoff game. Has it having that taste in your mouth back in 2012? Did it give you more of a desire to get back there and to recapture that taste? And also, I'm curious to some of the younger guys on the team who weren't there for that season. Do you kind of let them know, like, guys, hey, we've done it before and it's pretty sweet, you know, keep working and we can do it again?
Yes, definitely. I definitely try to get our guys that haven't been in that situation to kind of just at least try to get a feel for what that situation might feel like, because they can't ultimately feel that feeling unless they get there. So I just preach on working hard and having something special, because being a part of that team, it was something special. It was more of a feeling that you had about your team. And that's what I kind of bring this year. I kind of try to let them know that we have something special and we can be something special. All we have to do is just keep working and put our focus into this football aspect of the game, and we're going to be fine.
Well, 2-0 so far for the Seahawks in NEC play. Of course, 4 games to go, and one of them this weekend against Sacred Heart. I want to throw it over to Rico right now for Bryant. Bryant also 2-0. As we know, they have Central Connecticut coming up on Saturday. Ricardo, I don't know if you look at the preseason polls, but Bryant was picked 6th. Obviously, the expectations from the outside weren't too high this year. Did you or did any of your teammates take notice of that? And did it motivate you at all? Or kind of did it just go by the wayside?
Yeah, that was a big motivation for us, being picked sixth in the NEC. It was definitely fuel to the fire this preseason when we came in the summer. And that's something that we wanted to prove otherwise to everyone else that was looking from the outside in. We thought that we had a team that was special this year that could compete in the NEC, and our goal, obviously, to win the conference, and we have to prove others wrong, and so that was a motivator for us coming into the season. Yes, so we did pay attention to that. We did take note, and we go into each game knowing it's the biggest game of the season for us, especially if it's in conference, and if we're going to prove others wrong and finish better than sixth in the NEC, we have to keep winning out.
So now let's talk a little bit about the biggest game of the season for Bryant, which of course is the next game this Saturday, Central Connecticut State. They're coming to Bulldog Stadium. ESPN3 will be there. About this matchup, Ricardo, what are you expecting from this Central Connecticut team? Obviously, they're 0-3 in NEC play, but as you saw last week, Sacred Heart got upset at home, and not to mention this Central Connecticut team, although they don't have a win in NEC play, they had a couple of nice wins in non-conference play. They beat two CAA teams. So I know that you're not going to take any conference opponent lightly, but in particular, what do you expect from this Central Connecticut team Saturday at Bulldog Stadium?
Well, like you just said, they are 0-3 in the NEC, but that doesn't mean a thing. Any team can be beaten any weekend, and beating two CAA teams is no easy task. So Central Connecticut can play. So we just have to go in there ready to play at our full capability. And it's going to be a tough game. We know this. It's going to be a grind, but we have to be the team that grinds harder throughout the whole game if we want to come out with the win.
Now, Central Connecticut on the offensive side of the ball has a pretty talented running back, Rob Holloman. Just you as a fellow NEC running back, I'd like to get your thoughts on Rob and the type of runner he is. I know you analyzed Sam Salmon's game earlier. Give us a little insight on what you see from Rob Holloman and what makes him so successful for Central Connecticut.
Speed kills is the first thing I'm going to say. Rob is a very fast back, very elusive, and I think that's two things that make him very successful here in the NEC. He finishes with his head forward. He finishes downhill, and that's always great to see in a running back. And so I'm positive that attributes to his success in the conference and his continued success in the future.
Now I want to turn it over to Jarrett, and we're going to look at this Wagner-Sacred Heart matchup for a minute. Jarrett, they're the defending champions, the Sacred Heart Pioneers. They're coming to town for a nationally televised game. Now, they lost last week at home to St. Francis. They also lost to Wagner last year. You guys beat them on a last-second field goal from Brian Maley. So I assume that they'll have some motivation Saturday on Staten Island. What are you expecting from the Sacred Heart Pioneers?
I'm expecting them to come out and they get after us. I'm expecting them to get after us, actually try to attack us, actually come out throwing the first blow. So I expect them to come out just ready to play. They remember what happened last season. We remember. We know that's going to play a factor into the game. And I know that they're going to come in here and they're going to try to get a win because they need one. So we definitely have to play our style of football. We definitely have to play lights out, mistake free, and stay focused during the game and just worry about what's happening on the field between those lines. And we should be okay. We should be fine.
Now, Sacred Heart, they like to take some chances deep. They like to throw it up down the field. Guy Jackson King, and of course everybody knows Tyler Doobie. Does that get you excited to know that you're going to play against a pretty good receiver in Tyler Doobie and a passing attack that likes to throw it down the field? As a cornerback, do you like those type of challenges?
Yes, as a cornerback, we all should love those type of challenges because that give us a chance to work on that aspect of the game, which is the passing game. I've been in the league for 4 years, and it used to be just a run-based league where it wasn't too many passes thrown. So now the game has expanded, and they're definitely throwing the ball down the field more, and it's exciting because it lets you show your technique, your ability to make plays on the ball, show your ball skills, your closing speed, and all all the attributes that play into being a cornerback or a defensive back. So I think that's a great thing to see them come in here and try that, and we shall be ready for anything that happens because we've been practicing very well. So we're definitely ready for them to come in and throw the ball down the field.
And Jarrett, what about run defense for a defensive back, for a cornerback? Do you? That's obviously a bigger part of the game. That some people look at a cornerback and it's a cover corner. He's locking up the #1 wide receiver. But we know there's more to playing the position than that. Can you just expand on being a cornerback in this league and having to play run defense against some great ball carriers, the Ricardo McCrays of this league, and you're going to see one on Saturday in Kashawda Spence. He's a big guy, tough to tackle. Talk about your role in playing run defense against some of these top-tier Northeast Conference backs.
The Northeast Conference, every team usually has great backs, and like you said, Rico's one, and we're coming up against one this upcoming Saturday. So being a cornerback and playing in the run defense, sometimes you have to beat the block and you have to make that tackle because that tackle could be the tackle for a loss. It could be a big play tackle, and if you miss it, it can also be a big play where you might be the last line of defense. So being a cornerback, you're that safety asset to help the linebackers and D linemen and safeties to correct some of their wrongs because in the game there are going to be mistakes. So who knows? Maybe the running back comes outside and the linebacker's not there, and you have to make that tackle. You have to stand up, and you have to use your technique and be a great tackler and come up and you got to just make plays. It's all about football at the end of the day. There's not one specific thing that we specialize at. We try to make our overall game just perfect and up to date as possible. So that's how it goes with being a cornerback in this run league.
Well said by Jarrett Dieudonne. I want to throw it over to Bryant's Ricardo McCray now. I mentioned the running backs, of course, you yourself, and you have a pretty effective teammate as well, Paul Canaveri. I like to think of you and Paul as a nice change of pace. You guys combined for over 300 rushing yards in last week's win over Robert Morris. But I also want to mention that there's been guys in the past, of course, Jordan Brown. And Jordan Brown, I found it interesting because he tweeted this week that Bryant, with, of course, him and now you guys carrying the torch, Jordan Brown tweets that Bryant is turning into running back you. What do you have to say about that, Rico?
I couldn't agree more. No, me and Paul, I like to think of us as a nice 1-2 punch, and I had the opportunity to learn from Jordan Brown for 2 years. He was an All-American back here, and he definitely taught me a lot of different aspects about being a running back that I didn't know before coming in. And so that was definitely helpful. And I know he's down in Dallas playing right now. He keeps in touch. He's always looking out, checking up on the team. And as far as Bryant being RBU, we like it. We hope it stays that way. We love the Rock. So that's what it is.
Maybe a little tradition developing up there in Smithfield. From one NEC alumnus to another NEC alumnus, because I want to ask Jarrett now about this guy, Nick Dosher. Dosher's all over Twitter, as we know. He's all about his Kansas City Royals now because they were in the World Series, former pro baseball player as well. But Nick Dosher, of course, your former quarterback, Jarrett, he was tweeting something last week about how you've been the best quarterback in the NEC for 3 years now. To get such praise from Nick Dosher, how does that feel, Jarrett?
Man, that's a great feeling. Dosher is a great player. He was a great player when he was here at Wagner. He set all type of records. He left his name at Wagner and on the game of football in the NEC. So anytime he gives any compliments or he kind of lets the league know of what's coming, then it's a great feeling when he gives you that kind of that kind of praise, because you were with him in practice. We were there in that 2012 year. We had hard practices, and we had a rough year. And the year before that, we had a rough season. So I've been with him 2 years, and it's just love. Me and him both share a common like. We both like the Florida Gators, so that brought us even closer together in that aspect. So, man, I love Dosh, and I just like the support that he give us. I like any support that any former teammates give towards back to the program. I really appreciate that.
Now, I got to ask you about that 2012 season, because Dosher only threw 1 interception the whole year. It was the first game of the season, and he didn't get picked off in a game after that. But I got to ask you about practice, because we don't get to see practice. How many times did you pick him off in practice? Did you ever get the better of him in those matchups?
On a given day, who knows, man. Dasher's good with the football. He sees a lot of things. He knew a lot of things was coming. He knew, just like he tweeted, he knew that we had a good cornerback in myself. So he'll veer away from me a little bit, and then some days he'll try me and get after me. So it all depends on what day it is. You have to strap your cleats up every day with Dosh, because he was good with the football. So I got him a few times, but hey, he was a lot older than me, so he probably got me more than I got him.
Now, one more thing before we shut it down here in our Google Hangout. I want to ask both of you guys. I'll start with Jarrett, because you mentioned the Florida Gators, and I know you're from Florida, and I think those guys down there, they like to think that they're like the capital of football in the United States, huh? Those Florida boys?
Yeah, man. Because we have the sun. So we have the sun out so much, as far as once the season over with, when it's spring ball, I know it's pretty much like the winter here, and we don't have the winter down south. So when you talk about football, that's what we play from January to December and back at it in January. So we definitely feel like we have the upper hand, since we get to play it so much, and that's kind of what leads to us talking trash so much. And then you have great players that came out of Florida, and we just want to back up what's already been set in there and set in its own way. Great players came through, because I know a few that went to my high school. It's a few that went to every other high school down south. So you just want to follow the footsteps of those that already set the mark in the path.
And now, Rico, you're from Rhode Island, right? Now, how do you feel about Bryant, which doesn't have a long history of football, just about 2 decades or so of football, but Bryant has kind of become the top Division I football program in the state of Rhode Island. Obviously, this year you're having more success than any of the other teams up there. How does that feel as a Rhode Island native to see this program being built and to be part of it?
I mean, it feels great. Yeah, Bryant is an up-and-coming program. I saw the transition from Division II to Division I, and we only keep getting better. The talent that we're bringing in is getting much higher. We're starting to get players from all over, and we're starting to compete at a much higher level. So we're finally getting that title of being the best team in Rhode Island, and we hope to keep it that way.
And before I let you go, I just want to give you this opportunity now. Do you have anybody that you want to shout out or take care of here, or any closing comments here? The floor is yours, Rico.
You know what? I just want to give Jarrett the best of luck in his upcoming game this week. And, shout out to the Bulldogs. We got to keep it rolling.
Well said. And now, Jarrett, your final words. What do you have for us? Some final thoughts from Staten Island.
I'm gonna definitely shoot a good luck right back at the Rico. I definitely want to shout out the Wagner family, the Wagner community, also the Wagner football team. We're all one here, so once you say Wagner, we all take it as a fence, and we all just love each other. So shout out to all the Wagner family, football coaches, and my family, and also Rico's family for actually giving us this opportunity to be here right now. So that's my remarks to that.
Well, there you've heard it from Ricardo McCray from Bryant, Wagner's Jarrett Dieudonne. They'll both be in action this weekend. It's an NEC football doubleheader on ESPN3. Bryant and Central Connecticut kick it off at 12 noon, and Wagner and Sacred Heart follow at 3:30. For Jarrett, for Rico, I'm Ralph Ventre here at the NEC. This was your Week 10 NEC Football Geico Google Hangout. Until next time.